Are your veggies getting enough olive oil? That's the question of the day, actually the hour, the week, the month, the year. If not, we're gonna show you how to make your veggies extremely happy with this easy recipe that's great to have on hand. You can use it in a million different ways. Today we're actually gonna pair it with some pasta. But before we get into all that, let me show you the veggies since that's what we're talking about. So the first step in this recipe is it has some diced eggplant. I like to leave the skin on the eggplant. I think it adds flavor. So I'm all about leaving that in. Actually, I've tossed a little olive oil on there because the olive oil keeps the eggplant from oxidizing. So the antioxidant properties are really good. So in the bowl, I'm gonna add some onion. This is yellow onion. You could actually use red onion if you have it. It's a fairly forgiving recipe. You can do a lot of different things with it. The next item in the veggie bowl goes, we have some peppers. Here we have some red, yellow, and orange. You can do really any kind of pepper. This was just what was available in the local market. I'm gonna toss that together a little bit, move these out of the way, and then I have some garlic. Just, what do you think that is? What is that, Megan?
That's
a tablespoon? 2 cloves?
2 cloves of pressed garlic.
Get all of that.
And you
I
can
want
do
all
more.
of that garlic. Yeah, you absolutely do more. In fact, I probably would. Now looking at that ratio, I would definitely add a little extra garlic because honestly, it roasts into these vegetables and adds a lot of sweetness. This is just some cracked pepper. I'm gonna add a little salt. Make sure this is seasoned nicely. Don't want to get too crazy with the salt because they are gonna cook down. And I'll be salting my pasta water for later. But again, you don't have to do this with pasta. This is a great all-purpose recipe. All right, I'm gonna add some fresh pressed olive oil, of course. Make sure that these are nicely coated. You can actually do a lot of this prep in advance and hold them in a Ziploc bag, already nicely oiled. I sometimes will kid Megan that she's confitting the vegetables. Confit is like cooked in fat because these are like little sponges. The eggplants just soak up all the wonderful flavors of the fresh pressed olive oil, and it makes the dish so yummy. So I'm just tossing this all together so it's nicely coated and everything's nicely distributed with the garlic and the onion. That looks pretty good to me, and nice bit of olive oil on those again. And then put this goes directly on a sheet pan. You guys can see, oh, the smell is, of that fresh pressed El Favorito from Chile. It just has so much aroma. It's crazy. These veggies are gonna be so amazing. So I spread it out because I don't want them to steam. I want them to get a little color on them. So I actually spread them out. You know, the actual Ina Garten recipe, which is one of my favorites, you know, has all the ratios and everything you need. And then one additional thing I like to do is later in the recipe, we'll use some lemon to make a dressing and top it with some other ingredients as well. But for now, the secret tip here is to roast whole lemons, or half, just cut them in half. Roast a whole lemon on the edge of the container, or
I'm
the
gonna
edge
give
of
you
the...
this because I dip them in the garlic and the olive oil.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh, okay, good tip.
That's my real
okay.
secret.
Okay, now I don't see you one up me there. I like it though. I like it. You can't, you know, it's a good way to actually kind of clean the bowl actually. I'll do the other one too. And I'll probably put this one, well, you know what, I'll just put them both, you know, cut side down. So I'll actually roast those in the oven and use those in the vinaigrette later. So the other thing I got to do is get my pasta water going. I'm actually using Orecchiette, little ears. These are really great. These little cups really hold on to olive oil, fresh olive oil. So we're going to be making that a little later as well. For now, I'm going to put this in the oven and put this in the pasta water. Well, much later actually. But for now, get this in the oven and then meet me back here so I can show you how to finish the dish. Good news, the veggies are out of the oven. So they've been cooling. Just cooling them down a little bit. Just pull those right off the, you know, let's go ahead and make our vinaigrette. let's make our vinaigrette. So I have just a large glass bowl. Just gonna use some lemon juice, some olive oil, you don't have to have a ton of vinaigrette. We can also add a little extra olive oil at the end if we need to. You see, I've got a little of the roasted, as well, the sweetness of the roasted lemon that we did. Squeeze a little of that pulp in there. I really like the texture that adds to the final vinaigrette. In fact, you can use this roasted lemon technique and make roasted lemon vinaigrettes as well, with fresh pressed olive oil, a little salt, maybe some herbs, and yeah, some great olive oil. You can use that on all kinds of different dishes, not salads, not only salads. Anyway, I've got a nice little vinaigrette. Here I've got some warm orecchiette, just came out of the pot. This warm orecchiette will receive the vinaigrette. Put a little bit of that in there and kind of toss that. Stir that in a little bit. Okay, good, just a little bit. And then we're gonna add our roast veggies. Now again, these veggies, you don't have to do this over pasta. You can just do it in a bowl. And when you do that, you can use these roasted vegetables for almost anything. Whether you want to make an omelet or maybe put them on top of an arugula salad. Just a really nice roasted, hey, get back here, eggplant. But I love the caramelization on the roast vegetables. The caramelization, it really brings out the sweetness and the olive oil in there. It's gonna be great. Wow, this is like vegetable candy. This is like really like vegetable candy. All right, put a little bit more vinaigrette. If you put this when the orecchiette is nice and warm, it just really soaks up the olive oil and then lemon juice and the flavors of the roasted onion and eggplant and peppers. All the way. Now the next way that we layer in flavor is we want to put some other ingredients in this roasted vegetable orecchiette salad. We're gonna take some diced feta cheese, some beautiful Greek feta cheese, some scallions, or green onion. These are toasted pine nuts. If you guys don't use pine nuts, you should look at incorporating them in your diet. Really good to place in vinaigrettes and add like really nice nuttiness to salads and creaminess. And then I've got some chiffonade fresh basil. Thank you, Amanda, for that. Really enjoying that fresh basil. So you can see this is just so really beautiful. You could just, serve it, toss it table side. You don't want to go crazy with it. You just want to get it nicely coated with all those layers of flavor. I smell the basil and the fresh oil and all the other ingredients. The cheese, you don't want to crumble the cheese. You want to keep that nice and big chunks of cheese. I'm gonna, of course, add a little bit of extra fresh pressed olive oil. Why not? Add some cracked pepper. I'm not gonna add any salt to this because I salted my pasta water nicely, so you don't need to add any additional salt because you also have the feta cheese in there, so it really doesn't need a lot of extra salt. It's really enrobed in all this flavor. I'm gonna try to put this on the platter. Straighten up a little bit. Dump this on the platter. And this is great for, you can serve at room temperature or kind of warm like it is now. You can refrigerate it, great for picnics and holidays. It's a really beautiful dish. And it just smells so intoxicatingly fresh with the basil and the fresh oil. It's just a really beautiful dish. I really can't wait to try it. As you know, it's one of my favorite parts of these videos. So anyway, let's find a nice little sampling here with some orecchiette and a little feta. Oh, and I've got some of the eggplant that's roasted and red pepper. See that? Cheers. Mm. Mm. Wow. You've got the nuttiness of the pine nuts, the sweetness of the pepper, the eggplant. It's really creamy, and the freshness of the basil and the fresh oil, the tart of the lemon juice. Really, it's a beautiful salad. Again, if you don't want to do it over orecchiette, just leave that aside. Make a nice bowl of roasted veggies, nicely dressed with all the other accompaniments we put on there, and just put that on top of a bed of arugula. Really nice, easy summer dish, and a great way to show off your fresh pressed olive oil. So happy drizzling.